If I might, just a quick little piece of housekeeping business before I call the meeting to order. Gentlemen, our technical people have asked us to be sure to be within about 6-8 inches of the microphone when we speak. So don't lean back and pontificate or share your brilliance with us. You need to do it up close. Then we want to hear your brilliance and your pontifications. So, but get within easy range of the microphone so that the public can hear us. With that, it is just past 4:30, so I'll call this meeting to order. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Got a motion? Second, anyone?
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion is approved. I would also entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. No one mentioned to me any concerns about particular consent items.
So move to approve the consent agenda.
Got a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second? Got a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion is approved. Moving down to customers to be heard and recognitions. Mr. General Manager.
No customers to be heard or recognitions today.
All righty. Item number 7 is old business. Anyone on the panel have old business? We have some old business to attend to tonight.
I have.
John.
I have a few. I don't know if it's appropriate for old business, but I was contacted, and there's a question raised when we had an outage in South Moorhead. When they called in to report it, they got a recording that they would be responded back to within approximately an hour. So is that our standard response on a recording? And if so, why is it an hour? So if that, I look at some puzzled faces, so we may want to check that, because the question was concerning that we aren't getting back to people on a more timely basis here. Now, I don't know how the turnaround time, but more is the response about the recording. And then that kind of leads into
Did they call MPS or
MPS. Yep. Then the next thing here, I don't know when it's last time we reviewed our phone communication process. I know it's come up a few times over the years here, if it's appropriate to use a recording, or should we have a person respond, and some people call it live person versus a recording. But since that came up, it's maybe something that we might want to think about here in the future.
Yeah. Take a look at when we do our utility, whatever you call it, where we do have all the meters electronically connected. We will be able to provide like text messages when there's an outage, because if the meter isn't seeing power, it will actually send a text message for those that want to have text messages. Right now, what we have is basically one dispatcher after hours or even during hours, that's operating the phones and operating the computer system. So sometimes, especially a larger outage, the phone just overwhelms and they get the recording. The dispatcher many times has time to call back people. I'll check on the 1 hour, but that may be just a standard, just to give somebody the opportunity, or, I don't think our system actually calculates. I know some new systems do that. They calculate how big the outage is and how long it probably will be. I'm thinking this one is a standard outage just to give a time frame, because probably 95% of the outages we're probably back on within half an hour.
Well,
so,
and that was my thought, is that we have such a good response time and very short outage time. So when they're saying that it was probably done before our response came back. So I just thought I'd kind of mention here for it. Next item.
Before you go from that one, John, Bill, during an outage episode, do our customers light up the phones? Are they calling in to let us know? Okay, so there's a lot of traffic. When we're not experiencing an outage, do we have live answering, or is it always digital?
Well, for our dispatch, it's always live.
It's always live. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. 'Cause I just think it's important that if there's an outage, I think people will understand that, hey, I'm probably among 100 people that are trying to call you to tell you, and we probably already know. But during regular business hours, I just think it's a whole lot more customer service oriented, and we always say we're a service organization, that we have someone live breathing that answers the phone.
Well, I tried to get the number that was used here because I'm thinking what they're telling me is that when they call and they get voice prompted to, do you go to here, you go here, you go here, you're here. So I can do some, but that's something maybe we should ourselves be calling in to see what our personal experiences
Give
are
it a try.
on the phone.
Okay.
Okay.
Next up, John.
Next item here, one of the bills that were paid, Kurt, was reimbursed for some training on firewall training. And we've talked about that a few times here, so maybe he could give us an update or in the next meeting what he learned or how secure he feels we are at this point.
And that's one of those areas that we can actually close for to talk about for security. So we can line that up.
Okay. Okay. All right. And then another bill item, there was a $90,000 item that was billed out for automated 15K switch. As we've talked before, as far as when you have large items like that, I was expecting to see more of an explanation of what that is. So we've kind of fallen back again and not giving my personal thought enough information when we see those larger items. So maybe just I'm assuming it's for one of the power lines, but Travis.
Yeah, the switch you're referring to is one of our motor-operated switches. It's one of our distribution automation switches. So that switch will be installed either down on 24th Avenue or either up right here by the water plant for some automation, so that we can try to get power on quicker when we have outages and things like that. So that's what it's for.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And again, Bill, when you are reviewing these items, if you would just ensure that we have a little
sure do
clear
that.
explanation. Mm-hmm. That's it.
That's it. Any other old business? Moving on to reports. Member of the City Council, Steve?
No report.
No report tonight. Things
Everything
are
is
calm.
good.
Everything's good. All
Like
under
a Swiss
control.
watch.
City manager's right behind you.
I'm waiting.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Steve. Public Service Commission members. Activities, reports, rumors. John.
Maybe Steve, you want to jump on this, or Chris here, with the collaboration on Center Avenue with our replacement of our piping, or we apparently got a bid for replacement asphalt that was extremely high. So I just wanted to make sure everybody, the commissioners, are aware that that may or may not, depending on bids, be finished in 1 year as we had hoped.
Yeah, and I'll speak, and then if I overspeak, my apologies. But Joel Paulson filled me in a little bit on it, and just told him my feelings that not much different than the water tower thing, that we need to do some due diligence there, or I won't support it, but I think it is planning on coming to council at our meeting on Monday, so I'm not sure what their recommendation will be.
And I think it's what's like 40% higher than what you expect, something like that.
Anything else, folks?
Well, on that
Bill?
On that note, we are replacing water main on Center Avenue right now as part of that project. And if the city doesn't approve it, it will increase our costs, because there was some collaboration efforts there. So if there's a year wait, we're going to have to do different revisions to that project.
be a number of revisions to the project. We planned for partial depth asphalt replacement. We had hydrant locations going where ramps are currently at and were planned to be removed. So we'll have to revise multiple items within the project to accommodate if the city does decide not to award their particular project. So we'll definitely have some changes to the contract that'll result if the project isn't awarded. Just for your information, and we'll bring those back at a later date. We're still evaluating all the changes that would have to happen.
And I did bring it up to Bob Zimmerman too, just so he knew our costs will go up a little bit, even if they rebid. So just so he knows that for the cost difference, because I know theirs is quite a bit over, but it is going to cause some costs to delay it.
Chris, will that extend our work into next year as well because of the placement of those hydrants in places that really aren't places yet?
Right. So we're still on track for July 1st completion on that project.
Okay.
So our design intent was to be complete or pretty much complete by July 1st so that the city could progress on their project and not be hindered at all by our presence. So that was the design intent. We did the design in January and bid in that January-February timeframe. So we have actually had this contract in place for quite some time, and we're progressing as though the city, we're still going to get done by July 1st, irrespective of what the city does on their particular contract, because we want to get the project done as well.
Okay, Ralph?
Any rough estimate on what the additional cost could be? Because what's the original cost on our side of the project?
Total contract cost about $890,000, probably between $20,000 and $80,000. We're still evaluating items, so that's why it's a wide window I'm giving there. But there's going to be some cost implication.
Let's pay then another 800, right?
Yeah, and I wouldn't proceed on any of those changes until at least the council has a chance to weigh in on that contract. So
right.
Yeah,
we'll pay attention to that.
What kind of dialogue do we have going on that will ensure that?
We work with city engineering every day out there. So we're talking. There's multiple coordinated items on the project. There were some trees that were removed today. So we're talking on a daily basis for this project because it's an impactful project. So we have to be well coordinated.
Okay. Anything else? I'm glad you brought that up, John. Thank you.
I've got one other item.
Bill?
Nancy informed me that the 2018 audit is complete, but the schedule for May 21st, that was when we were going to present the audit, but our auditor is not available that day, so we'll push it back to June. So,
Fine.
That's all I had.
Okay.
And I think Nancy said everything is A-okay. She wanted to make sure and tell me that.
Everything is normal, approved. It's a clean opinion, but we just have a timing delay as far as when they'll be available to present that report. But it has been finalized.
We might want to be sure to examine the calendar over the next several scheduled meetings. We've run into these various conflicts here recently, so if we might just be sure that our dates also work with the dates that you're trying to come up with here. We've fallen off of our real routine, so let's try to get back to it.
Well, and on that note, we're going into June, July, and August where we tend to have one meeting per month. Ralph has gone all of June, so we will probably skip the first planning meeting because we were going to talk about AMI and that type of thing.
Yep.
So we'll push that off to July.
Okay.
So we'll probably only have one meeting in June, July, probably two in August.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if Susan would, maybe we just poll everybody to kind of look over the next 3 months to really solidify those dates, and with people leaving, gone, whatever. But
we'll do that.
It'd be helpful to do that. Okay. Nothing else, Bill?
Nope.
Okay. Item number 9 is an item to rescind the award of bid and reject bid for the Southside Water Tower project. Let me open this one. Following the meeting last month, I still had questions, and I started to examine really what we had accomplished on that particular Tuesday evening. By Thursday, I was convinced that I really didn't have enough information, and I was unhappy with the decision that we had made as a commission. In some conversation as well with our council liaisons, it was clear that there was concern about us going forward with the bid as we had. I looked at our meeting again. I was then further unhappy with the assurances that we had on various elements of the bid and how we were proceeding forward with that single bid. I asked Bill to meet with me and in that instance with Councilmember Gertz, so that we could talk about what we had decided on Tuesday, and in my opinion, what I thought at least we ought to do in our next meeting. This item in front of you is a result of that conversation, that re-examination of those facts. I believe it's important that our bidding process make every appearance and be crystal clear and transparent and fair. And it seemed to me that there was some question about that. So if it's even just question, I'm unhappy with that, and I think all of you would be as well as commissioners. So this item is here as a result of really that unilateral action that I took as your chair. We can talk about the elements of it this evening, but that's why this is on the agenda tonight, and I would certainly appreciate your discussion and your consideration of this item. I guess that's all I have to say. I'd open it up to you guys. Ralph?
Question to council. Is it legal for us to rescind the bid?
I guess you don't ask me enough. I don't know how to run the mic. We would not be creating a contract with them until we executed the document. So it's my opinion that, yes, we have the authority to do that.
Thank you. Second question. So to Chris, if we delay this project by, let's say, a year, that would also delay the I-94 water tollway, you're correct?
Yep. I note that at the bottom paragraph in the item. So yes, definitively the I-94 project would be delayed 1 year.
Would it have any negative impact on water pressure south, any other issues we're doing for the next year?
If there's a fire event in the industrial park, it would be problematic in between now and then. We need the storage down there. It just delays it a year. It would be good to have in place, but to rebid it and give an extra bit of time for the construction of the tower is appropriate in light of the high bid we received.
But on the fire issue, I mean, we have had a fire in the industrial park before, and we have handled it really well. So it's not an issue, right? There's not a danger.
Right.
Correct.
It just would assist in that type of,
Yes.
If we have that type of an event, it would assist in maintaining pressures in the case that type of event would happen.
But we can also put pressure in from back here, right, all the way down. If it blows pipe, it blows pipe, right? So we could do that. So there's no concern about not being able to put out a fire.
It's for, I think I talked about this when we awarded it. It's really for fire pressure and then maximum day storage. So
Sure.
We're really getting close on our maximum day storage. That's why we wanted to get the tower constructed in a short time frame so that we could maintain our max day storage at an appropriate level. We're just going to be slightly under that requirement between now and till the tower is complete, but nonetheless, it's manageable.
Thank you.
Other commissioners? Comments, questions?
Bill, after we had the meeting, I asked you to contact Apex and get a written explanation of how they made assessment and their due diligence and research of this project. Did you get that done?
I do not believe we have anything written. Do we have something written?
I believe Apex is working on drafting that document. I believe it's in preparation.
And I see also in the bills we're paying them $26,000. So
We did.
what is that for?
We did complete the design for the project, so I mean,
So is that
That's-
design?
the design and bidding administration portion of the project. So I mean, we'll rebid, and we have talked to Apex. We're going to rebid the project.
We won't pay any extra for the rebid.
Well, my concern, I'm not very happy with the quality of work that we received. We expressed concerns during the meeting, and I went back and listened to the meeting. We were assured that there was due diligence. In your comments, you also made statement that we did our due diligence. We were told they didn't have anything locally, which is not accurate. We were told that they didn't have experience to qualify for the 700,000 gallon tank, and they're building a million gallon tank in West Fargo. How did that happen? But we were assured that that bid would not qualify, and that's the reason why it was not opened. That's, to me, is not acceptable by staff's part and our representative in the engineers department, because that is delaying the whole project, and it was not necessary, in my opinion. So I would hope we get an explanation in a written one. As I told you, that if we run into any litigation, we want to make sure we are covered of their rationale of how they determined why there was only a bid that qualified, the one bid that qualified. So we need to have that, because I am still concerned that we have an issue potentially with the one who didn't get opened and the one who did get awarded now is not going to have to go through a rebid process. That's all I got.
Other members? Bill?
Well, the
Any
action.
further comment?
Yeah, just the action in front of you basically rejects these bids and will start the process for a rebid, which we'll plan to get later this summer back to you.
Okay.
Just to be clear, before the rebid would happen, we'd bring back the plans and specifications in June, so we could talk more about specific design issues or the modification of the scope, project timeline, etc. There'll be another opportunity to review those items before we continue the project. So, just to inform the commission.
Chris, modifications to design, as you just mentioned, and some of the aspects that were the items that I started to question. Are you saying that we're going to clarify those points that ended up creating the disqualifications that were occurring in the prior bid process, or what kind of clarifications are we going to have here? So that we're all bidding on the same project.
I think there's multiple scope modifications that we'll be considering
Okay.
to increase the desirability of the project to the market. So I don't think it's just one single thing. There's multiple scope modifications that we're going to change. One of the things that we'll likely consider is possibly taking the underground extension. Basically, we had a significant portion of the project was underground extension to the tank itself of water mains. So that's one thing we may bid as a separate project. We're looking at our options. When you start this process over again, you kind of want to revisit all of the items that went into the first design and see if there's some items that can be improved. Maybe there's some cost reductions that we can realize. We used the term value engineering in the last meeting. Yep. We would have done that if the bid had been awarded, but now that we're going to rebid, we're going to look at all the opportunities to possibly save some money on the project.
Thanks, Chris. Any further comments, questions from members? Liaison? Anything further?
No, I appreciate the chance that we had a chance to visit with Bill and appreciate his response to that.
Okay. Okay, with that, I would entertain a motion to proceed.
I move to rescind the award of bid and reject the bid for the South Side Water Tower project.
Got a motion? Need a second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to rescind the award of bid and reject bid for Southside Water Tower project. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion is approved. Item number 10 is to close the meeting for executive session. This meeting will now be closed for executive session as authorized by Minnesota Statute Section 13D.05 Subdivision 3A to evaluate the performance of the general manager. Let's see, do we expect action? Is there action at the end of this other than to say that we're done?
Well, I don't think you need to take action at this meeting, but when you come out of closed session for a performance review, you do have to give a summary or, basically do a thumbs up or whatever. But I don't think you have to do it at the end of this meeting. You can do it at the intro
So I can
of
just
the
look at the
next
camera and
meeting.
go like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So you wouldn't have to keep the cameras rolling.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So just do it at the beginning of the next meeting.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. So people don't have to hang out rather than.
Right.
Okay. Good deal. So with that, I don't need a motion to do this. We're just going into executive session, right? Okay. So we are in executive session. Please, if those of you that are not involved in that conversation, you are asked to leave at this time.